Dr. Salvatore Vinciguerra, and in this video I'm going to be discussing Native American music. I'm going to be sharing with you different examples of how Native Americans in the United States of America use their music to transmit stories orally, and also how it's used in their culture for dances and other types of ceremonies. The two most important characteristics of Native American music are singing and percussion. When Native Americans sing, it's called vocalization, and it takes place in many different forms, ranging from solo and choral song to responsorial, unison, and multi-part singing. Percussion, especially drums and rattles, are common accompaniment to keep the rhythm steady for singers who generally use their native language or non-lexical vocables, which are non-sensible syllables.
Pottery or clay, but once we had access to metal tools, we were able to carve them out of logs. It will be hollowed out on only one side, and then a groundhog skin or any tough animal skin is going to be placed on top, sealed with a hickory band. The reason why this is called a water drum is because the tone of this drum can actually change depending on the amount of water you have in here. So if you want a higher pitch, it's going to fill that water up. If you want a lower pitch, just pour that water out. If you don't really care about the sound, you can leave it the way it is, or just pour the water out completely. For movies and TV. Same concept as the water drum, but this is actually going to be hollowed out on both sides. The animal skin placed on the top and the bottom. So this is a single tone drum because no matter how tight you bond this leather together, it's still going to be the same tone. And here's a drum beat you've probably heard from those movies and TV. I'll say that, strictly Hollywood, we never use that drum beat. I believe only one tribe has ever actually used that beat. For us, it was always a single beat, and that varied on speed, or it would sound something like this. What we were trying to do there is mimic the very first sound that everybody hears within their lifetime, which is your mother's heartbeat while you were still in the womb. Previously, the dancer would have always worn a mask, and it would be decorated according to the dance that we were doing. So if we're doing our bear dance, bear fur would be placed on here. If we're doing our corn dance, corns would be placed on here. Before metal tools, it was made out of tree bark, gourds, or even a hornet's nest. Just anything soft enough to carve with flint. That's all we had at the time. But once we had access to metal tools, the mask became a little bit more pretty than this right here. And now we had a mask for each dance that we did. This is our bear mask for our bear dance. I'm not sure if our singer told you or not, but the dance was performed before going out on a bear hunt to ask the creator for luck on that hunt. And then when we got back, we'd actually place that bear in the middle of the square, do the dance again to give thanks and honor to that animal for its sacrifice. A common misconception that the settlers had when they first arrived, they thought we were worshiping these animals. That simply wasn't the case. We were just showing our respect for all these animals. We even have an ant dance. We don't really have a use for ants. They don't really do much for us, but we still show our respect for them and pretty much all animals. Even a turtle. I don't think we have a turtle dance, but our way of showing respect for that turtle is by using his shells for our rattles. Putting it up on the post and right here in my hand. You may have noticed our dances was always man, woman, man, woman. Now what the women would wear would be these right here. They would tie them just below their knee like this. It was never seen because they always had long dresses that always covered them. And they would shuffle their feet as they danced to give them this sound. So these right here are called shakers, and only the women wore these. And they wore them to help keep rhythm in our dances. These right here are eagle wands for our eagle dance. If you guys haven't seen it yet, Under These Hills we'll perform our eagle dance, so you'll have a little preview of that. That'd be one of the dances we would have took seriously because it was a victory dance and it was performed in 3 stages. The dancers would outstretch their arms like an eagle in flight, and then they eventually come down like this. That symbolized that eagle gathering up everybody's prayers and then finally taking them up to the Creator. The eagle is one of the highest flying birds around, and we believe that the eagle had the highest or closest contact to the Creator. That's why we chose to use him to help carry our prayers. Now you couldn't be just anybody to use these. You had to be a well-respected young man among the village. Usually the elders chose who got to use these. If at any point he bragged about using these, somebody else would be put into a spot because that was seen as a sign of immaturity. Hours or even days, like I was telling a few of you, the dances you see performed here are very abbreviated versions because we do have to show you multiple dances within a short amount of time. The real dances are going to have multiple verses, and they can last however long the singer wants. Now obviously you're not going to be dancing for days at a time, You will be switching out with people that are in the arbors, just anytime you want to take a break. Or you don't have to take a break at all if you don't want to. And you always sat with your clan, just like in the council house. When you got your clan from your mother's, whatever your mother was, that was the clan you were born into. My mom's from the Burke clan, so I'm from the Burke clan.
In New York State, there are six nations of the Iroquois, and I'm going to introduce you to Craig. Come on out, Craig. Craig is Mohawk, and this particular style that he's going to share with you is the Iroquois war dance, and then later on we'll do the smoke dance. So you see that headdress on his head, that's known as a gastoa, and we know that he's Mohawk because he has 3 eagle feathers sticking straight up from his gastoa. So let's say if he was Seneca, there would be 1 eagle feather sticking up. If he was Tuscarora, there are none. So each of the 6 nations of the Haudenosaunee, which means people of the Longhouse. So in their own language, they can't say the word Iroquois, it doesn't exist. In their own language, they have to say Haudenosaunee, which means the people of the Longhouse. And so each of their gastoas tell their different nation. And you notice that on his regalia, there's lots of floral patterns to represent the eastern woodlands. Now the Haudenosaunee, the Iroquois, are responsible for giving the founding fathers the idea of democracy. So if you, the 6 nations today, they were originally 5, and they fought with each other. A man called the Peacemaker came, and he brought them all together. He told them they're like arrows. 1 arrow he broke it, 2 arrows he broke, 3, 4. When he got to 5, he couldn't break those 5 arrows. And he told them, you are like these arrows. And so they formed this powerful confederacy. So when the founding fathers were looking for a government to model, they looked to the Haudenosaunee. And so when you look on the back of a dollar bill, you'll see an eagle with 13 arrows. And those 13 arrows represent the Haudenosaunee. Craig is going to do this dance for you known as the Iroquois war dance. Lucky enough to have this young man here sing for you.
Native American music plays a vital role in history and education, with ceremonies and stories orally passing on ancestral customs to new generations. Native American ceremony music is traditionally said to originate from deities or spirits, or particularly respected individuals. Rituals are shaped by every aspect of song, dance, and costuming, and each aspect informs about the makers, wearers, and symbols important to the nation, tribe, village, clan, family, or individual. Native Americans perform stories through song, music, and dance, and the historical facts thus propagated are an integral part of Native American beliefs. Epic legends and stories about culture heroes are a part of tribal music traditions, and these tales are often an iconic part of local culture. They can vary slightly from year to year, with leaders recombing and introducing slight variations. Here's a great example of a love song in a traditional Native American drum.
See, this is the heartbeat. They're the future. They're sacred. So we're gonna bring them, and I want to request a song. Does it go? This, not this one, man. It doesn't go Oh, McDonald's. Oh my gosh, this is a good one. We're gonna sing Old McDonald's for all the children. Okay, children.
The Native American flute has achieved some measure of fame for its distinctive sound, used in a variety of New Age and world music recordings. Its music was used in courtship, healing, meditation, and spiritual rituals. This particular flute is the only flute in the world constructed with 2 air chambers. There is a wall inside the flute between the top slow air chamber and the bottom chamber, which has the whistle and finger holes. Unlike Western music, traditional American Indian music had no standard pitch reference such as A440, so flutes were not standardized for pitch. Historic Native American flutes are generally tuned to a variation of the minor pentatonic scale, such as you would get playing the black keys on the piano, which gives the instrument its distinctive plaintive sound.
Love flute. If you play this instrument to a woman, she's supposed to fall in love with you. I gotta be honest with you, I've been playing this flute for 10 years. I just came from Paris. I'm still single. So I'm not really sure that it works for me. But if you play for a young woman, let me tell you how the story originally got started. This way you can sort of understand. So a long time ago, there was a young man, and he was in love with this beautiful girl. Every day he'd see her, and he'd say, man, she's beautiful. But she would just ignore him. She'd pay him no attention. And it kind of broke his heart, So he went to his grandfather. He said, Grandfather, how can I get that beautiful girl to notice me? And his grandfather said, well, my son. He kind of said like this, well, my son, I've been thinking about you tonight. And so his grandfather went to sleep, and he dreamt of a beautiful cedar tree. And on the branch of that cedar tree, a woodpecker was pecking holes. He pecked 6 holes in a straight line. And when the wind blew into those holes, a beautiful sound came out and made all the birds of the forest sit on the branch of the tree and listen to that music. So when grandfather woke up that next morning, he saw that same tree in his dream. He couldn't believe it. And he walked up to that tree and he said, "My brother, the tree, I seen you in my dream. And I also," he looked at that branch and saw 6 holes. He said, "Tell me about these holes." And the tree said, "Well, grandfather, one is for Mother Earth. One is for the 4 directions. One is for the 4 seasons. One is for the 4 things that grow, the root, the stem, the leaf, the fruit of the tree. One is for the 4 creatures of the earth, those that swim, those that fly, those that walk, those that crawl. And this last one, grandson, is for your heart, because you're kind and you always think of others." But grandfather was very thankful for that story, And he gave the tree some tobacco, that special way, that was tobacco, that prayer, tobacco. And the tree knew that grandfather was a good man. And so grandfather asked the tree for that branch, and he took it and he carved all day until it looked like that woodpecker was still sitting on it, because he wanted to pay respect to that woodpecker. And he said, "Grandson, take this and play it for the girl. She's going to love you forever." And so he said, "What do I do with it?" He said, "Just place it to your lips." And so he placed it to his lips. Like that. Grandfather said, "No, you have to think about her in your heart and in your head. And then when you place it to your lips, your beautiful heart and soul will come through that music and she'll fall in love with you." So that night the stars were out, all the people of the village gathered. He took his microphone so they could hear, and he played her a song from his heart. We are going to start off with some of our plains powwow style dances that we do in our gatherings and powwows and celebrations. And this first dance that we're going to share with you is called the grass dance. And the grass dance tells the story of flattening the grasses. And you know, in the old days, the grass dancers would come out and flatten the grass and prepare it for all the people to dance on. Today we just use a lawnmower. But in the old days, we flattened the grasses with our grass dances. So we're going to have our grass dancers come out, and they're going to share with you, these grass dancers are going to share with you this beautiful story. This dance tells the story of the grass and this young warrior. This young man who was riding his horse through the high plains. And as he rode his horse, he was wounded in battle and fell into those high grasses. And as he laid in those high grasses, his people couldn't see him. He could hear were the grasshoppers and crickets singing. And as they sang these songs, the grass came alive in the shape of men. And they began to dance around that young man and flatten different sections until one huge section was flat, so big that his people could see him. And so they rescued him and they brought him back, and he told them this story about how these grass people came alive. And he told them that they lived in balance, and what they did on one side of their body, they repeated on the other. And so grass dancing was created. So you look at his outfit, you look look at his outfit, you see those long blades of yarn that represent the grass. And so this is known as grass dance. This style of dancing originated in Oklahoma, and it comes from the horse culture of Oklahoma. Now you look at their outfits and you say, there's no part of it that resembles a horse, but let me tell you how. See those eagle feathers on his head? Watch when he walks back and forth, that's a horse's head when he's galloping. Look at those batons in their hands, that's the tail of the horse that just sways around. Those bustles on their back, that's the mane of the horse that just sways. And that fur above their ankles, that's the hair above the horse's hooves. So as they're dancing, they turn, they spin, they do high steps like a prancing or dancing horse. And this is the story of fancy dancing. So during the summer months, these guys all compete against each other. It's sort of the first break dancing. Not Native Americans invented a lot of things and you didn't know what break dancing for. And so this style of dancing is that competition. And so these two young men are going to share this with you. This is known as men's fancy war dance. this smoke dance. You hit her up on YouTube, you can see like all the championship dances that she's won doing this smoke dance. But we're gonna let her do it after, so just kind of giving her a big lead up. So Valerie is Seneca, and she comes from the Seneca Reserve in upstate New York, right below Niagara Falls. So this first dance she's going to do for you is known as the women's shuffle dance. So she's going to do this Iroquois dance for you.
Slow down and the bears will start picking up berries and nuts off the ground to back themselves up for the winner. And so it's going to be our Yona Askisi, our bear dance. Done hit stop. Here you go.
For most Native Americans, secular music is allowed to be performed in public. However, sacred music is not necessarily allowed to be performed in public, mainly because these dances are very special and unique to each Native American tribe. This next musical example is very rare, but is also quite controversial because this particular ceremony is not necessarily allowed to be performed in public. It's done by the White Mountain Apache Crown Dancers. I've actually posted a larger series of songs by the White Mountain Apache Crown Dancers on YouTube very recently, and it was highly criticized by the Apache Nation, and I had many tribal members contact me to tell me their critique of the performance of these very sacred songs.
Dance group has been traveling throughout the United States, showing their culture in traditional dances. This group not only show their dancing, but they give their words of wisdom and share their prayers with you all. So enjoy and give your most respect to the White Mountain Apache Dance Group as they show you their traditional dances and music.
At this time, they're given the four direction blessing. We give thanks to Mother Earth. We thank her for all the good things she's given us. We bless all four directions because that's where we all come from. So how many of you here are very happy and honored for what Mother Earth has done for you?
This is Dr. Salvatore Vinciguerra. Thank you for watching this video on Native American music. If you like this video, please like it, subscribe to this channel, and have a great day. Thank you.